The name of the CD is I Just Wanted to Hear the Words, and it is a great pleasure to welcome to the program one of the most respected actors in show business and now recording artist and singer, Danny Aiello. And Danny, thanks for taking a few minutes to talk with us here in Sarasota. We've really been enjoying the CD. How are you tonight?
Well, I'm fine, and thank you very much, Doug, for playing, and I truly appreciate it.
Oh, it's a great collection of songs on there. And
after a very long period of time, after being given opportunities many, many times in my life to do it, I said, no, I didn't have the guts to. Until finally a friend, Tom Vandell, who happens to have his own record company, come over and said, come on, let's do it. I said, what am I going to sing? I thought he was going to tell me Italian songs, which I don't do, And he said, no, standards, things that you grew up to. So I said, all right. So I picked 80. I had 80 songs, and then the first day of rehearsal, we reduced them to 20. Second day of rehearsal, we reduced them to 14, and those are the 14 that now are on the album. Yeah,
it's just a great cross-section of old standards, and congratulations on the outstanding reviews you've gotten on it.
Yeah, we were very lucky. We hit number 4 on a debut on the traditional jazz chart for Billboard. It hit number 4, which to me was absolutely shocking. I was doing this, and certainly I didn't think it was going to get anywhere. I was doing it because, let me just say I was doing it for my own edification, because I wanted to do it for such a long period of time, but never expecting anything in return other than making the record, which would have been satisfying enough. But then, to see the response, it's been extraordinary for me.
Yeah, just reading some of the notes on it, I know you've always wanted to sing, and you even took some singing lessons, I believe, as a teenager at one time.
At the age of 12, the old author, I didn't take singing lessons, actually. I used to go in the corner of Freeman Street in the Bronx, and I would sing with a bunch of guys, and my mother thought that I was capable of singing. I truly didn't know, but she took me to the Arthur Godfrey show. The Arthur Godfrey show was an old amateur talent show. My mother thought that I was capable of singing. I truly didn't know, but she took me to the Arthur. It was still very important throughout the country. But I was so terrified of this audition that I had. I was sitting in the office with my mother, and when they had called my name, remember I was 12 years old, when they called my name, I was already gone. I just didn't have the guts to do it in front of people. I was one of those, what you would call a bathroom singer. I was great in a shower or something like that. Occasionally with friends on the corner, I was fairly good, but never to be able to perform in front of people. Absolutely not, until recently.
Yeah, I grew up on Long Island, but I know a lot of the kids that grew up in your era, I suppose, sang on the street corners, right, in the 50s and 60s in Brooklyn and the Bronx, like you said.
It's absolutely true, and I don't think any of us had any hopes of ever doing anything. I mean, there was no avenue for us.
Brooklyn and the Bronx, like you said.
It's apt to emulate those things that we're singing at that particular time, but I didn't think there was any real reason for doing it other than doing it to have fun, because certainly we weren't looking to become singers. It was something way beyond, anything that we could accomplish, and we never thought that way. But to be able to do it this time, Doug, for all these years of my life, wanting to and never having the guts to, I have to tell you, it's very, very satisfying. I'm the kind of guy that I wish I was around during the Tommy Dorsey time when people used to go on the bus and go from place to place to place to place. That, to me, would have been exciting, go to a high school dance and sing, go to this nightclub and sing day by day. To me, that must have been an extraordinary experience. And I'm getting a little taste of it now, because I got dates one day here, one day here, one day here, and at times we actually will be taking a bus.
Yeah, I know you're performing next weekend, aren't you, up in Niagara Falls?
Yeah, we're at Seneca Casino. I'm up there the 8th, 9th, and 10th. That's the first time I'll be singing in a casino, of course.
Oh, great.
And, I'm kind of excited about it. We went out to L.A., actually, and we performed in the House of Blues there in Anaheim and Los Angeles, and we did quite well. To be perfectly honest, I thought that the house wasn't made for me. There would be, let's say, a younger kind of entertainer. But I went up there, and a man by the name of Don Heckman, who's supposed to be the most notable music critic, he's been doing it for some 25 years, reviewed me at the L.A. Times, the calendar section, and he wrote me a sweetheart note. I mean, it was probably as good as any great review I've received as an actor. I was very shocked. And, of course, we appeared at the Rainbow Room in New York City, and then I went to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame out in Cleveland, Ohio, and performed in all of those places. So I'm getting a little experience under my feet.
Was it challenging for you to put together, as far as a public performance of these songs, put an act together? Or?
Yeah, that was very difficult because, it's truly, what do? I get up there and we have a 7-minute intro, a video intro to me before coming out on the stage, and it's because people know me as an actor, and I don't want them to think that I've forgotten that, because I'm still acting. I have 3 pictures coming out. I begin shooting one in February. But just to remind them that I am not this singer only, I am an actor. So we give that, and then I just walk out and I just perform, and a little chatter in between. But I don't think there's anything as polished as maybe people would expect it to be. Let's say it's kind of raw, improvisational type, and I like that. And I'm just hoping the people don't get the feeling when they do come to see me. I don't want them to be embarrassed about anything. And the hope that I have is that they'll accept my singing right away and not feel embarrassed for me. And what I do is I try not to chatter the first 2 songs. I get out and sing them so I can put them at ease and say, well, he's not so bad, he'll be all right. Because people tend to feel embarrassed with people they already know. They say, what am I going to see? He's an actor. What am I going to see him singing? Is he going to hurt himself? Is he going to, so that troubles me.
Yeah, it's a challenge. I guess people don't know what to expect, and
yeah, that's right. Yeah. And I feel for them actually, and I try to sort of relax them, because to be honest with you, Doug, I'm relaxed. I go up there and I got the Bobby Darin attitude now. I say, I dare you not to like me.
Well,
if you don't like me, I'm coming to your table.
There you go. Well, I saw you on the MDA telethon. You sang a couple of songs from New York, and you got a great group of musicians working with you too.
Oh God, I got some great people. I really do. This Joe Geary, he's the co-producer of the album as well. He's my drummer. I have this wonderful, wonderful piano player, Keith Ingham from England. I mean, without them, this could not have been done. Doug, when I reflect back at the time we were doing the record, I didn't know any of these songs, to really sing them like this. I had to relearn. I had to learn my key. Mm-hmm. And these are things I simply didn't do because I just haven't sung them. So I went in there, and because of Keith, we didn't even have a sheet music. He knew every damn song that I decided to sing. Then, of course, we had to go out and get the sheet music, and we did the arrangements ourselves. We had the rhythm section. We had drums, bass, me, piano, and there was a sax at the beginning, and then all the rest of the horns and violins were added to the record later. When I wasn't there, we performed just with a rhythm section.
I know in a couple of the up-tempo songs, like It's a Sin to Tell a Lie, you got a lot of Louis Prima in you there.
Yeah, well, it's Italians. We have Louis, Bobby, Tony, Frank, I guess there's measures of us, a lot of them in all of us. But you know what I did? I chose songs which were covered by many artists and really not particularly covered by any one known artist. The only song that I have, One for My Baby, is traditionally Frank Sinatra's, of course. So that's the only thing that I came close to, saying, well, that's Frank Sinatra, he does that, because all the other records that I chose have been covered by many artists. So when I do sing it, it doesn't seem as if it's an imitation. It's simply just my impression of my interpretation of what that particular song is.
Yeah, I want to get to that in a minute, because just listening to your rendition of it, you've done it in a way that I think rivals his as far as stylistically. It's just a great arrangement of One for My Baby that you do.
Well, thank you.
Who did that for you?
We got that reaction also from Don Heckman, that major critic, which shocked me. And it happens to be my wife's favorite and my daughter Stacy's favorite. They happen to like One for My Baby, the way I do it, which is extraordinary, because no one does it like Sinatra. I mean, he puts it to sleep. The minute you hear his voice, it's not even a question of attempting to emulate, because his voice is it's like the finest horn you've ever heard. I mean, it's just extraordinary. And when I sing and I hear him, let's say I'm listening to my car radio, and I may go to one of my records and then back to his, I feel embarrassed that I'm doing it.
Oh, no, you shouldn't, no. But did you ever get to meet Frank at all?
Yeah, I've been to a few parties with Mr. Sinatra, but I'm a person who feels impositioning people is not the right thing to do. Mm-hmm. And I always thought that if I went up to him and began talking to him, it would more or less be in positioning him. So I stayed very much away. I'd been to maybe 4 or 5 of his birthday parties I was invited to, and he used to call me kid. He said, "How you doing, kid?" And he called my wife a beautiful babe, and she thought that was extraordinary.
Made her day.
But I mean, I robbed myself of a relationship, a friendly relationship with him, but I'm sure he would have accepted me as a conversation partner, you know, but I just couldn't do it. But I've always been that way. Richard Nixon, who I was crazy about, when I was a kid, I was invited to his home often, and I never did it because I just didn't. I don't know what. I have some sort of a problem, obviously. Each time I have opportunities to meet people that are sensational, I don't do it and find out later that they passed away, and I was never able to make that connection. Marlon Brando was another one. He sent me a beautiful letter when I did The Last Don. He was exquisite with his compliments to me in the letter, and I thought at some point I could get to meet him and sit down and just talk to him, and I never did, and he passed on, and I was very sad about that as well. You know,
I think it's interesting for our listeners to maybe realize that people in show business like yourself are sometimes reluctant to go up to other people in show business because, like you said, you could be a little shy. It is interesting. Yeah.
I've been a very shy guy much of my life. It doesn't appear that way when you see me on the screen because I generally chew it up. But but I, as myself, find great difficulty. That's why I suppose singing for me, once I finally did, why it had taken me so long, was basically because of that shyness, because to get up there in front of an audience and not blame your performance on some character that you may be portraying, but if the performance is terrible, it's you doing it. It's Danny Aiello singing. But I always felt as an actor I was able to escape into characters. And if I was terrible, I can always say, well, that was my interpretation of the character, and of course it had nothing to do with me. You know, and I know it doesn't sound too sensible, but trust me, psychologically, that kind of thing does work for me, you know, in my acting, that is.
Just got a couple of minutes left, and over the weekend on TV, at least down here, I think I might have been on one of the cable networks, Moonstruck was on, and is that one of your favorite roles?
Doug, I was a major wimp. I hated that role.
Did you really?
But I'll be honest with you, that it was a role that I have to be thankful for because it opened starring roles for me because they found in it I was able to do comedy, which I think any human being is able to do. I mean, but they never did give me that shot. But doors opened considerably for me. But it was not one of my favorite parts.
What do you got coming up next? You said you have 3 coming out.
Well, I have a movie coming out called Lobster Farm. I shot it in Sheepshead Bay. Jane Curtin plays my wife. It's a contemporary piece of work. It's about a lobster farm in Sheepshead Bay that they're foreclosing on, and it's happening as we speak. And I'm playing the owner of that lobster farm, which is the lead in the movie. It's a sensational movie. Marty Scorsese is the executive producer. It was directed by this wonderful kid, Kevin Jordan, a recent graduate of NYU Film School. And then I began shooting Folding the Monster, which Folding the Monster is a polka term. I start shooting that in Atlantic City in February.
Oh, great. So,
and I have 2 other pictures that I'm not astounded about. You know, one is called The Last Request, and the other one is called Zeta and the Hitman. They're due out within maybe the next 2 or 3 months.
Any theater coming up? I know you've done a lot of New York theater.
I'm dying to do Folding the Monster. We're planning on being on Broadway and Folding the Monster in May.
Okay.
But we're shooting the film in February. In other words, we're planning to do both things, and I'm very excited about this. I did a movie called Dinner Rush. I don't know if you saw it. If you haven't, or if your listeners haven't, go out and get it. It's a tremendous restaurant movie, which we did 3 years ago. It's a tremendous DVD sale. Bob Giraldi directed it. He's one of the most famous commercial directors in the United States. He did all of Michael Jackson, Beat It, and the Pepsi commercials and everything. Well, he and I have just come together again to do his second feature he'll be directing, and I'll be producing with him. That's Folding the Monster. So I'm very excited about that, looking forward to it, because he, again, is involved. and he's a genius.
Oh, yeah, that's great. And once again, the name of the CD is I Just Wanted to Hear the Words, and they can go to your website, I guess, and get it, can't they?
Yeah, well, it's better they go Amazon.com. If they can't get it in their local, it's in all the stores. It's in Sam Goody's, it's in Best Buy, it's in Barnes & Noble. But they order very insignificant numbers, so sometimes they're out and they have to reorder. So that's the reason I say Amazon.
Okay, great. And
but you can get a link through my DannyAiello.com. Yes, you can get a link through that as to how to get the album.
Yeah, it's a great website, by the way. A lot of good information on there. And,
thank you very much.
Keeps your fans, I guess, up to date on what's going on. And any plans on traveling down to Sarasota area with your concert anytime?
Yeah, I think what they're doing now is they're looking for something in the Albany area. I'm handled by ICM, and they're setting up the entire, route that I'm going. Right now, I'm not certain because I just signed with them last month, and they're setting up the Rainbow Room again in New York, and I'm doing the House of not the House of Blues, the Blue Note in the city, and some of the hotels. But I plan on being in the Albany area and hopefully Sarasota relatively quickly.
Very good. Well, it's been a pleasure to talk to you, Danny.
Doug.
Been a fan of yours, and we'll talk to you again real soon, I hope.
And I truly appreciate it, and thank you for all the for all the people you're allowing to hear me. And if you get a shot, go out and get my album. I truly appreciate it.
Okay, thank you very much.
Doug, thank you for playing the music.